The nap that won. You lie back on your bed, the unfinished assignments pressing against your mind. The clock ticks softly, reminding you that time is slipping away. You could push through and finish it now, but your eyes are heavy. The thought of a nap, just a few minutes recharge, is tempting, but you know these minutes could turn into hours, and then you'll be scrambling to finish. Still, you think about the week, how you've been rushing from one task to the next, never taking a break. Maybe this moment of rest is what you need, a brief escape. You close your eyes, telling yourself it'll be quick. You'll wake up refreshed, ready to dive back into work. The quiet surrounds you, and the pressure of assignment fades into the background. You stop thinking about deadlines and to do lists. You focus only on the softness of the pillow, the stillness in the room. For the first time today, you let go. It's strange how simple it feels to let go, to rest without guilt. You've you've been taught to keep moving, to always be productive. The idea of stopping, even briefly, feels almost revolutionary. When you open your eyes, the room is dimmer, evening creeping in. The clock catches your attention, and the panic sets in as you realize how much time has passed. You've lost hours. The assignment is still there, waiting, but strangely, you don't feel the rush to dive back into it. Instead, there's a sense of relief. Maybe it was the nap you needed more than the assignment. You sit up, stretching, feeling the lingering warmth of the nap. The assignment hasn't gone anywhere, but neither has your ability to focus. You get up, ready to tackle it now. But this time, there's no guilt, no rush. You need that pause. Maybe, for once, that was enough. The weight of task still hovers, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming. You approach the work with a refreshed perspective, a little more grounded. For the first time, you realize that sometimes taking a break is just as important as pushing through. It's a lesson you forget too often, that you can't pour from an empty cup. You gather your materials, but before you begin, you take a deep breath. It feels different now, not just the assignment, but how you approach it. A small decision, a nap, no matter how brief, remind reminded you of something you sometimes forget, the importance of balance, and that's more than anything makes all the difference.
The last house on Marita Street. It was almost unspoken at the time, but my entire family, mother, father, brothers, and sister all thought it. We all saw it too. Not when we were together, though, not in any way we could confirm. It picked on us. It saw us only when we were alone, when everyone else was asleep. It hid behind corners. It stood behind the shower curtain. It slunk outside our windows. But we always knew it. Something was there. I don't think it's common to grow up in a house your entire family is convinced is haunted. I don't think other mothers indulged that idea like mine did. When I was 10 years old and told my mother I saw a shadow watching me in the garage, she didn't shoo me away or laugh at the silliness of the story. She turned cold and told me she saw it once too. There were explanations, of course, stories about the family that lived there before us. Even our neighbors knew the stories, although I never met someone who actually knew them. The stories were always similar, though. Apparently the family was awful. The mother was a druggie, the dad a deadbeat, and the kids were totally out of control. One of the children had tried to burn the house down twice. Maybe the kid was right to burn the place down. Maybe he saw it too. Whatever spirit or ghoul or red-caped devil my family had seen. Room for doubt existed, obviously. My mother raised me on horror films. She'd sneak me into her room an hour or so past my bedtime, careful not to wake my siblings, and she'd pull me away for a midnight screening of whatever junk she found on the Sci-Fi Channel. Maybe this didn't help filling my head with ghost stories. In retrospect, it all seems so obvious. The house was decrepit. Me and my mother loved horror, and we were poor and stressed. If anything, it was very likely we'd be tricking ourselves into seeing monsters. But then again, I remember how it felt in the moment. I remember the nightmares I had. The ones that were so real they felt like memories. I'd wake up facing my window. What little amount of moonlight that shimmered down was only enough to see the outline of a person staring at me from just beyond the curtain. Then my bed would begin to shake. My stuffed animals would dance and shriek as their little plush heads twisted backwards. And then I'd wake up again and scream and launch myself away, horrified and scared. I know it was only a dream, but it felt more real than reality at the time, and I can remember it more vividly than my own true memories. And then there were the times when I knew it wasn't a dream. I had fallen asleep on the couch one night, and my mother left me there to sleep. I had woken up at some point between midnight and morning. All I could see were dots of electrical lights that blinked from the DVR. I rolled over and looked to my kitchen behind me. I could see into it from beyond the Passover counter. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I realized I was staring directly at him. I knew he was the same man, even if he didn't look the same hiding in silhouette. I closed my eyes and I convinced myself he wasn't there. Even while hiding behind my eyelids, I saw him, that shape he took. My parents separated. The house was sold. It was bought and renovated. It no longer resembled the house I had so feared as a child. It was sleek and modern. The hallway that I ran down in fright had been removed to make more space for a new expanded bathroom. The horror of that place was evaporated, replaced with marble countertops and faux wood flooring. We bought a new house, a different house, and that feeling, that presence, was no longer there. My family would bring it up every so often. We'd share our stories of impossible things happening in that house, of the people we saw who weren't really there. Maybe the house was haunted. Maybe we were just scared people in a stressful time. Maybe, probably, it was some cocktail of the two. But that house, as it existed in my mind, is how it will always exist to me. Now it's a campfire story, and maybe the memory is better for it. It's more fun than the truth. I don't want my childhood to be some sad story about a girl being raised in a shitty house with poverty clawing at her back and her parents shouting in the room over. It's more fun as a horror film. A fun, rompy horror film. The kind your mom wakes you up to watch on the Sci-Fi Channel in the middle of the night.
Across the globe in a cold land lies Antarctica, where the icy world is filled with creatures one would not usually see for themselves under normal circumstances. The ocean itself remains freezing at temperatures where humans like you and I alike would freeze to death without proper equipment. Those who thrive are the animals who have adapted to life in the sheer cold and depend upon it for their own survival. Within the cold waters was a school of fish, casually swimming around. Suddenly a figure bolts through them, causing the school to scatter in a panic, one less now amongst their crowd. What could have done this? It didn't have fins or scales. It was not a fish. In fact, this creature was fuzzy with feathers and had a beak. A bird that was flightless, in return gaining the ability to be great swimmers. A penguin. This penguin, like many, had black and white feathers, but also possessed yellow and orange plumage up to its cheek. Not to be confused with an emperor, this penguin is a king penguin. Being a great swimmer also meant that the king penguin is efficient when it comes to hunting for fish and other prey to eat. However, like penguins to fish, it is not the only hunter out there. The king penguin's hunt for food comes to an end when detecting a presence most unwelcome, suddenly bolting like a bullet back to the icy surface. Behind it follows something larger than the king penguin, not a fish nor a bird, but a mammal. Spotted like a leopard but a silvery and gray coat and bearing razor-sharp teeth, the leopard seal is locked onto its prey, hoping to make a penguin its next meal. In a contest of both speed and stamina, the two race, one for safety and the other for blood. As the penguin dives in and leaps out of the water, desperately trying to escape the jaws of the seal, both begin to tire. It may seem harsh for one or the other, but a similarity shared by both of these animals is survival. The penguin seeks to keep living on while the seal wants to avoid starvation, resulting in the battle for survival of the fittest. Eventually, the penguin reaches the shore, out of breath as it leaps out of the water. Whether a lack of strength or indecisive if it should waddle on its feet, it makes a struggle to flop away on its belly. Not far behind, the seal slowly catches up, an advantage of being a mammal and having a relation to bears. Closing in and barely out of bite's range, the seal suddenly stops and turns around, heading back into the ocean. It was a lucky break for the penguin who had won the contest of perseverance, as the seal decided it was no longer worth the struggle for a meal. After a long exhausting chase, the adult penguin tiredly waddles a long way back to the nesting colony where their chick awaits hungrily in need of food. Upon arriving, there are hundreds if not thousands of babies and parents alike, feeding or searching for their own families. Despite the many sounds and cries, the penguin uses its own distinctive cry to call for its child, reuniting with it once more. The parent chews the formerly caught fish and spits it back out into the chick's mouth, satisfying the hunger of its baby. The penguin now keeps its youth warm, tucked between its legs, while its partner begins their turn to hunt, and so they continue the cycle of life for a king penguin.
Don't go. Please stay. You've always been my only hope. If you leave, I'll have nothing to hold on to. Can you promise me to live forever? I cannot imagine a life that you are not in. It is not easy for me, I promise you, to look back on the moments when I was still a child. You raised me, and I got to watch you grow too. But I just wish you could live forever. Can you promise me to live forever? Do not tell me it's out of your hand. Just promise me to be here forever, I beg. Promise me to keep your youthful energy. Promise me to always be there for me. My backbone, the wall on which I lean. I need you here. I cannot do life without you. You are my everything. We've had our disagreements and arguments, and I have said things in time of anger, but not a single word did I mean. Please stay. Please stay with me. Please stay hopeful. Please stay. How dare time fly? Now you've aged. I cannot watch you in pain, living in your bed. All you do is sleep. You are here, but at the same time not. Who will I go to now? Who will I lean on now? No one. No one will accept me like you. No one will get my humor like you. No one will love me so unconditionally and willingly like you. No one will push me to my potential like you. No one will care for me like you. No one will want me like you. Just please don't go. Promise me to always laugh. Promise me to always be here to comfort me. Promise me to give me all the advice I need to live life. Promise me to never age. Never be too tired to say my name or greet me. Promise me to never hopelessly cry. Promise me to never give up, always try. Promise me that you'll pray to stay for me. Promise me to never let go. If one has to go, let it be me. For I cannot live a life without you.